Hello guys, this is Behind the Numbers and today we are taking a look at the Great Depression. This video is definitely going to be a bit longer, so I put some timestamps down for you. You could just skip to the part that interests you the most, but I would advise you to watch all of it because it's all connected to one another. Alright, let's start with act number 1. The Roaring Twenties, the calm before the storm. As the title suggests, the 1920s were a time of economic prosperity, at least on the surface. The Industrial Revolution had matured and mass production was king. Automobiles, radios and household appliances were flying off production lines. But there also were many political complications. In America, it was the time of prohibition, which led to tons of illegal trade and criminality, as people realized their chance at high profits with alcohol smuggling. After the war, many soldiers were still addicted to opioids. Even though in hindsight, as you can read in Atomic Habits, many of those people, about 9 of 10, stopped using opioids, or especially heroin, after changing their environment completely and being separated from the triggers, such as the easy access and the acceptance of heroin in the war. In Germany, for example, my home country, Adolf Hitler started to make his moves. The NSDAP, his fascist party, was founded and he started to receive great influence and positive news, because many people still suffered in connection with the hyperinflation after World War I. Except of all of that, the stock markets became the playground of both experienced investors and everyday people. Borrowing money to buy stocks, known as buying on margin, was the trend. And by 1929, the New York Stock Exchange was the hottest ticket in town. But back then, investing wasn't as easy as it is today. You had to visit a broker physically, or you couldn't access stock exchange. Many people also worked all day and did not have the time to invest into stock knowledge, especially working class people, which led to them only acting as swarm intelligence. News controlled their investments, but those could come from anyone, even a taxi driver. Act 2. The stock market crash of 1929. It's a Black Thursday, October 29th of 1929. The stock market collapsed. Stocks plummeted and investors scrambled to sell, triggering a downward spiral. Billions of dollars vanished in a matter of days. This was especially tragical for the working class people we talked about. First of all, they did not have quick access to sell their stocks, and second of all, many of them noticed way too late, as they already lost all their savings. But banks also faced the crisis, because they had loaned money before, which was now completely gone. This led to evaporation of confidence in the financial system and is known as the ripple effect to this day. Act 3. Unemployment and the Dust Bowl. By 1933, unemployment in the US reached 25%. That's about 6 times as much as today, which is already considered quite high by some experts. Skilled workers now not only lost their savings due to the stocks crash, but also their jobs, and many became beggars almost overnight, which again lowered consumption and hence profits of companies, which made stocks crash even more. This wasn't just an American problem. As I've said before, Europe, still recovering from World War I, was heavily reliant on US loans. When those dried up, European economies crumbled too, which led to huge discontent, which in many cases causes polarization of politics and humans. And as the discontent became great enough, it also led to the reign of the NSDAP in Germany. In the Midwest, a decade-long drought turned farmlands into deserts. Farmers who couldn't grow crops defaulted on their loans, losing their land and livelihoods. This of course led to immigration. But in the picture The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, for example, which paints a vivid picture of families like the Joads who left the Dust Bowl for California in search of a better life and only found more hardship, you can see that many immigrants didn't get a better life after immigrating. Act 4. Government responses and the New Deal. President Herbert Hoover believed in the principles of the American dream from his whole heart, as he was born poor and worked his way to the top. In 1929, he said any lack of confidence in the economic future or the strength of business in the United States is foolish. In 1930, he stated, "The worst is behind us." Because of that, he commanded people to go work and believe in America so that the economy could rise again. His policies consisted of cutting $160 million of tax money for the people, and he even donated much of his private income to charity and convinced his co-workers to do the same. But that wasn't enough, and because he thought it would ruin the balance of power between states and the federal government, he opposed $375 million, which would have provided food, clothing, water, and shelter to many people. But as he realized the crisis still went on, he formed the RFC, or Reconstruction Finance Corporation, in 1932, which spent $2 billion of taxpayer money to win back the trust of Americans and make them save some money again, which, as you could imagine, they did not have, by investing into banks. Now, many people did not resonate with him anymore, and despite his private donation efforts, he was not elected again. Franklin D. Roosevelt took the office in 1933 and promised a New Deal for Americans. His administration rolled out massive public works projects, social programs, and financial reforms. The Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, provided jobs for young men, building parks and infrastructure. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, insured bank deposits, restoring faith in the banking system. The Social Security Act established a safety net for the elderly and unemployed. Franklin D. Roosevelt's fireside chats became famous. He spoke directly to Americans via radio, calming fears and explaining policies in plain language, the exact opposite of which was going on in Germany at that time, where Hitler also convinced people through radio, but he did not calm their fears about the economy, but rather turned this fear into rage and as a colossal power pointed it at those who opposed him and his ideas, but also many innocent people. This should be an anecdote to always watch out what you hear in the news and form your own opinion, because not everyone addressing your fears and talking to your liking will be a Roosevelt. Act 5. Recovery and Legacy. While it's despising to say, World War II effectively ended the Great Depression. Massive wartime spendings revitalized economies, which to this day is a well-known fact to governments. If it weren't for the money literally printed in times of war, I'm sure many presidents would hold back the grudge against another and forego the influence and might coming with more territory. But nonetheless, the financial regulations established during the Depression shaped the modern economy. Institutions like the Securities and Exchange Commissions, SEC, continue to enforce these rules. The Great Depression was more than an economic crisis. It was a test of humans' ability to endure. As we look at the world today, let's remember the lessons of this past, because history has a way of repeating itself. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, it would be great to leave a like or to subscribe to my channel, because that helps a lot. I hope I'll see you again and have a great day. Bye.